Hello everyone, welcome back! Because it's the season of spooky scares, Luigi's and Boos, Moblins and Bokoblins, I thought that it was only fitting that I made a video about the original Castlevania game. So get your whips ready because we're about to thwack some vampire butt. But before we do, here's a quick spoiler warning. That's right. On this channel, apparently we do spoiler warnings for games that came out in the 80s. What if someone fell into a 35-year coma whilst waiting in line to buy the game and then woke up and watched this video and I spoiled it for them? It seems plausible. In 1986/7, Konami decided that the world hadn't had enough opportunities to thwomp Dracula in the face, so they released Castlevania. Also, can we just take a second to appreciate what 1986 and 7 did for games? Here are a few of the titles that released at that time. Kind of a big deal. Castlevania lets you play as Simon Belmont, a descendant of a long line of holy whip-wielding, walled chicken-eating vampire hunters. The whole game takes place at Dracula's castle as you explore its passages, killing hordes of monsters, before ascending to the highest tower for a showdown with the one and only Count Dracula. It's a classic game that's led to like a squadrillion spin-off sequels and even an animated TV show. And despite being familiar with the show, I haven't played a single Castlevania game before. But in my previous video, I had a lot of fun jumping into the Metroid series for the first time, so I thought, what the heck, let's try some Castlevania 2. And boy howdy am I glad that I did, because I fruitkick love this game. The first thing that hit me about Castlevania was that Simon Belmont's legs are thick. He does not skip leg day, and as a result he controls like an absolute tank. I'm used to Mario style 2D platformers which are a little slippery and floaty, but in comparison to those games, controlling Simon Belmont feels like you're moving a boulder underwater at the bottom of the ocean. Simon's thick vampire slaying thighs don't change their pace for anyone, mortal or otherwise. Instead, he just stomp struts his way around the screen with endless determination. From that explanation, it would be fair to assume that the game controls pretty terribly. But Castlevania actually feels pretty damn good to play. It took me a second to adjust to, but as soon as I did, I found myself really enjoying the steady pace of Simon's movement. Sure, you're not running and flipping around the screen, but there's a precision to the game that makes these tanky controls really satisfying to master, even after all these years. And you'll need to master these controls if you want to have any chance of taking down the variety of enemies you come across throughout the game. Some of the enemies include cloaked purple ghouls that have their hands in the air like they just don't care, demon hounds, bats, Medusa heads, frog hoppers, fish people that just want a fairer pay and a shorter work week, and even spooky scary skeletons that throw bones at you. Like, are the bones that they're throwing at you their own bones? What if they run out? Do they throw their funny bones at you? Is your funny bone even an actual bone? It seems like an odd strategy. It would be like me ripping off my own arm and throwing it at someone. Sure, it's intimidating, but it also puts you at a hell of a disadvantage. But let's not get distracted, because despite all of these fiendish foes, easily the most overwhelming enemy in the game is stairs. The only control irk I have about this game is that you need to press up or down to interact with stairs, but if you forget to do this and you're a fool like me, you go straight through them, which means you can cascade to your death a lot of the time. If you do manage to make it past the stairs of doom scattered throughout each stage, you'll be rewarded with a spicy encounter with a boss. The first boss in the game is a big bat, which seems scary, but if you think about it, it's just kind of like a puppy of the sky. However, I kind of regret my decision to think of it this way because I ended up clobbering it in the face with a giant axe. The axe that I used to clobber the innocent sky puppy is one of the sub-weapons that you can collect throughout the game. You can use the sub-weapons by spending heart currency that you collect throughout each stage. In order to collect both hearts and sub-weapons, you have to do what is easily my favorite thing about Castlevania. My favorite thing about Castlevania, the thing that makes this game great, the thing that makes me want to name my firstborn child Simon Drac Von Vania, is whipping candles. It's really stupid and it kind of proves how simple the human brain is capable of being. But for whatever reason, whipping a candle and having a little heart or power-up pop out gives me such a satisfying rush that I found myself putting Simon Belmont in so many unnecessarily perilous situations, just so that I could whack a candelabra with my flicky string. The only thing that I can compare this to is smashing pots or cutting grass for rupees in Zelda games, except in Castlevania the candles are constantly around throughout the entire game. I think it's fair to say that I'm more motivated to eradicate every candle from the world than I am Dracula. When I wasn't whipping candles, I was also busy whipping every single wall in the game. This is because this game also has what I think should be a standard feature in all games: wall chicken. Every game should have secret rose meals that restore your health. Castlevania has wall chicken, Mario could have Goomba gravy. Wait, no, that would mean Mario would be eating Goombas. Has Mario ever eaten a Goomba before? Oh god. It's such a strange design choice, but I love the idea of having secret rose meals in a game. Could you imagine going to an open house and the real estate agent is just like,
"Yeah, great floor plan, plenty of space for a growing family. Oh, and There's roast chicken in the walls.
I'll take it. I get that Dracula is immortal, but I doubt his pantry is. Apparently Simon Belmont doesn't hesitate to chow down on some century-old salmonella. Despite all of these incredible features, this game is by no means perfect, and it has a lot of frustrating elements, like this hovering platform that just doesn't quite make it to the other side. So if you were to, I don't know, like walk across it and try to make it to the other side of the platform, you'd probably die and fall to your death, and that totally didn't happen to me like 7 times. Enemy placement in the game near instant death falls can be pretty brutal, especially if the enemies are Medusa heads, or the bats in this underground cavern area. The knockback when you collide with enemies is really strong, and is essentially designed to punish you and throw you to your death if you fail to dodge or kill oncoming enemies. And then there's the problem with enemy swamping. Sometimes the game just relentlessly throws so much at you that you can't help but beg for a second to catch your breath for a billion eagles with frogs spawn and bombard you. Luckily, modern copies of the game come with save states, so if you do find this stuff to be too frustrating, you can always lean on them a bit. And thankfully, the in-game checkpoint system isn't too brutal. Losing all of your lives doesn't fling you back to the very beginning. It just takes you back to the start of that stage that you're up to. This helps to avoid progress slumps and keeps you motivated to go back and defeat any hard bosses. There are quite a few tricky bosses in this game, especially if you reach them at low health. Luckily, a lot of the harder or tedious bosses can be overcome by using Holy Water. Holy Water basically turns the game into easy mode, and I don't know that I could have beaten this game without it. A good example of this is the boss fight with the Grim Reaper. This is what fighting the Grim Reaper looks like without Holy Water, and this is what fighting the Grim Reaper is like with Holy Water. As you can see, it makes quite a difference. And I imagine this game would have been an absolute breeze if Simon Belmont had come armed with a Holy Water pistol instead of a Holy Whip. Overall, I think this game looks pretty beautiful considering all of the hardware limitations the developers were working with. There's a great amount of environmental variation in each stage, and it really feels like you're ascending a giant, expansive castle. I'm particularly fond of the moon that looms over you as you climb the stairs to face Dracula at the end of the game. All in all, Castlevania is a short game, and if you're persistent and bop along to the incredible soundtrack enough, you'll eventually find yourself ready to face off with Dracula. I was so excited to finally face off with Dracula. Apparently I was a little too excited though, because I forgot to press up to climb the stairs and just walk straight off the edge. I literally had to kill death to get up here, but in the end I was defeated by a slight incline. Luckily the game is nice and there's a checkpoint right at this very spot, so I gave the whole stair climbing thing another go and prepared to face off with the Count. The final fight with Dracula had me absolutely baffled. Dracula teleports and reappears near or at your most recent location before attacking you and then disappearing once more. This means that you constantly have to be moving. Your only opportunity to deal damage is by hitting Dracula in the head just after he reappears and flings fireball projectiles at you. No matter what I did, I couldn't deal consistent damage. And after having a slight tantrum and being very sure that my controller must be broken because I couldn't possibly be responsible for this I realized that I'd been pressing the attack button just after I pressed jump, but if I pressed both buttons at the same time, I could consistently land hits, and from then on it wasn't actually that hard. I know, 2 buttons at once. What a revelation. With this new tactic, I took Dracula out pretty easily, but then... Wait, what the hell is that? Dracula transforms into his second form, which is a giant blue bat werewolf with legs like Big Bird from Sesame Street? I was not prepared for this garbage. Eventually though, through exploitation of the Holy Water, I was able to cheese the evil blue Big Bird and defeat Dracula, and that's the end of the game. There's a nice scene of the castle crumbling and then some fake credits roll. The game then resets from the start, but now the difficulty is twice as hard, which no thank you very much. I tried to play through the first level and oh my god, it's a nightmare. Well everyone, that's Castlevania. I've really fallen in love with this game, and since finishing it I found myself going back and just playing through levels to zone out for a bit. I'd love to hear what you all think about Castlevania and the other games in the series, and I'm excited to try some other Castlevania games. It'd be great if you could recommend some other games in the series that you think I should play. Well, I think that's it. Thanks for coming along on this journey. Your hair looks great today. Have a very spooky, scary day, and hopefully we'll see each other soon.